like you're in a thriller. Heart goes pound, pound, pound. Ghostly figures, they can get so bitter. Sure you want to enter, you can turn back now. You don't know where I've been. What's going on inside? Where the monsters are...
I thought we'd do another mailbag. Not expecting too many viewers. It is 8 o'clock in Australia on... What day is it? Wednesday? That's right, Wednesday night. School holidays, eh? Welcome to Stuff It, a fantasy basketball podcast. A bit of a bonus episode here, brought to you, as always, by FanDuel, part of the Old Man Squad, part of the Believe Network. Follow along at Adam King 91 at Old Man Squad Fantasy, both on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to take questions. If there are questions, if you've got any, throw them in the comments there. So we did a mailbag show earlier today, myself and Noah, and we had a lot of questions that we weren't able to get to. Well, I mean, we worked through enough, but there were quite a few left over. And then a lot of the questions that we had were regarding the Warriors and what the rotation looks like without Jimmy Butler. The Warriors actually played tonight. So I thought I'd just have a look at what the sort of fallout, I suppose, from one game was, and just talk about a few other players that caught my attention today. And if there's any questions, drop them in the chat there. I will start with the Warriors game, though. Oh, it was towards the back end, wasn't it? And maybe I'll bring this up on the screen. It's a little bit easier to talk about it. Let's do that, shall we? Sorry, I wasn't going to bring it up on the screen, but I will do that because I know it makes it a little bit easier to follow along. So let's bring that up here. All right. Actually, I'll make that bigger. If I can't see it, you can't see it. How big do we want to go? A little bit bigger. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. All right. So let's take a look at the Warriors from today. All right, so they lost. A pretty comprehensive loss to the Raptors, which is the first thing you have to factor in when you're looking at that box score from today. So the final score was 145 to 127, but it wasn't really that close. The Warriors sort of pulled it back late, but it was generally always in control for the Raptors. So if we work our way just sort of down the box score here, or the stats from the game, you can see Buddy Hield at the top there. No, I'm not running to add Buddy Hield. If you want to take a chance on him, sure, but he played down. So a lot of this came as a result of uber efficiency. You can see there he shot 88% from the field, only shot 8 times, hit 6 threes, did nothing else. So this is purely 100% a case of a guy that just got red hot. The coach left him on, and he took advantage of it. So yeah, if you want to take a chance on this, go ahead and do that. This doesn't really move Buddy Hield in terms of the pecking order, I suppose. So this morning when Noah and I were doing the show, our sort of consensus ranks, we were slightly different on a couple of players, but our consensus ranks were DeAnthony Melton first, Podziemski second, and maybe flip-flop on those two guys. Moses Moody was third. Who else were we? Oh, Post. Quentin Post was next, and sort of Buddy Hield was last, and then Will Richards obviously in there, and a few other guys. But they were the names that we talked about. Jonathan Kuminga also came up, and we will talk about him as well. Buddy Hield, if you want to ride this and see if it turns into anything, go ahead. I don't see this as sustainable at all. Quentin Post had 12 points, 7 rebounds, nothing else. The reason I sort of mentioned the fact that this was a blowout was because you look at the minutes there for like Quentin Post, even Steph Curry, he played 25 minutes. That should tell you everything you need to know about this game. It is not a reflection of what the Raptors, what the Warriors are going to look like moving forward. If they get blown out every game, sure, but that's not going to happen. So I wouldn't look at this and go, oh, Melton's only going to play 20 minutes, or Jonathan Kuminga is going to play 21 minutes. We need to go and add him. I wouldn't believe any of that. Quinton Post, I think, will play more than this. So I do think if you've picked him up, you're probably okay to hold him, despite the fact that this wasn't his best performance. As for Jonathan Kuminga, look, that's a fantastic line. 20 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal in 21 minutes. I feel like if the games are close, Kuminga is probably not going to play as much. I think this was a situation where they weren't winning. They weren't going to win the game. Let's just get Kuminga out there and see what he can do. And he did play well, and we know what he can do when given minutes. But this performance doesn't convince me that this is what we're going to get. But again, if you want to take a flyer on him, absolutely go ahead and do that. Moses Moody, 18 minutes, 10 and 5. This is, again, the minutes are down. But the reason that I think, or the reason I was not as high on him as an ad as Noah potentially was or is because his role, I don't feel like it shifts too much. He's been starting, he's been playing a lot of minutes, and he hasn't been a must-roster player. So yes, with Jimmy Butler not there, he probably gets his hands on the ball a little bit more. But that's why I think we were both higher on Podziemski, is because he goes from a bench role to a starting role and automatically probably moves into the number 2 slot in terms of offensive preference, pecking order, whatever we want to call that. I think he goes from being like a fringe guy to number 2 or number 3. Moses Moody just stays where he was. So Podziemski, I would go and add him if he's available. He had 11 points with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block in 22 minutes. As for Melton, it was not a good game. 6 points, 5 assists, 1 steal, 20 minutes. I sort of talked about this morning. My caution with Melton is that I don't know if the Warriors are just going to let him go for 28 minutes here. I think they're still managing that knee injury or the return from a knee injury. So I still think he is capped at around 25 to 26 minutes, and that has been enough. Remember, though, the scoring that he's been putting up over the last week to 2 weeks is not sustainable. That's not why you roster DeAnthony Melton. You roster him for his defense. He'll hit some threes. The assists are okay. The points are a bonus. So it does come down a little bit here to what stats you want in terms of who you target. If you're looking more for points, I think Podziemski or even Moody would be preferred options there. And then Melton sort of gets you that production across the board. So, look, I think summarising here, don't overreact to this. If you've added Quinton Post, if you've added Kuminga, Moody, Melton, just hold. Don't move, don't drop. Don't run to add Buddy Hield. If he's just sitting there and you need threes, you could certainly just pick him up and see what happens. But like I said, I think this was just a perfect storm for him and a number of other players in terms of the opportunity that he got. All right, so I really just wanted to focus on the Warriors there. We do have a few questions. We don't need to be that big, do we? Let's dive into those very quickly. All right, Tatum, DeJounte Murray, or Kyrie worth stashing? Sitting in first, J Hang 2055. Of those 3, Tatum would be the one for me. DeJounte Murray, haven't heard a lot. And I think of the 3 here, the only one that makes sense to get back on the court is Jason Tatum. The Mavs aren't really doing anything. The Pelicans definitely aren't doing anything. The Celtics are. The Celtics are pushing for a top 4 seed, believe it or not. And obviously adding Tatum to their roster makes them better. So if I had to pick one, it would be Jason Tatum, and I am stashing him in 2 leagues, I believe. All right. Benneth Carrile, not sure. I got an offer of Jokic for Wemby. Should I accept it? Playoff starts week 19, 12 cat, 9 cat head-to-head. If yes, should I be worried that Jokic will be limited in back-to-backs? Yeah, look, I think initially he probably will be, but I think it probably depends where you are in the standings. So week 19 is when your playoffs start. We're now in week 14. So you've got a month, 4 or 5 weeks till your playoffs start, which I assume is after the All-Star break. Jokic could be back next week, possibly the week after. So you are looking at a ramp-up period, but by the time you hit the fantasy playoffs, I think he will be back to 100%. So if you're in a position where you can take some zeros for a week or 2 weeks and then absorb the fewer minutes, maybe no back-to-backs for a little bit, then I would consider that. But if you're sort of battling, if you're sitting 5th, 6th in your standings and you need production, then I would just hold Wemby. All right, what's my take on Sabonis? Do I think he will get back to his level? I'm not sure. They're going to be really cautious with him here. You have to remember, before the injury, he actually wasn't playing that well. Let me just bring up his... I don't need it to be that big anymore. Let's have a look here. Where are we? Where are you, Sabonis? So I'm just pulling up his box scores over here on my right. Yeah, so prior to the injury, he had 3 games, 3 in 4, where he scored fewer than 20 points. The rebounds are fine. He's going to get rebounds. We know that. The assists were down, and no real defensive stats. Efficiency was fine. So, yeah, look, he's been really bad since coming back. I think he'll be better. He'll definitely be better than he was. And when you say, will he get back to his level, I guess it depends what you think that level is. If your level is top 30, no, I don't think he'll be a top 30 player. I think he'll be closer to top 50, top 60. You're probably looking at double-digit rebounds for sure, 17 points maybe, 4.5 to 5 assists, and then maybe 1 defensive stat. And the percentages are fine. Free throws aren't great. So you're probably looking at a top 50, top 60 player. If you could move him for a top 50 or 60 player, I would. And then, of course, does he get traded? We just don't know. Would I add Aaron Neesmith in a 12-team 9-cat league? I think you could. If it probably depends who you're dropping. He's a borderline kind of guy for me, top 120. Hasn't been very good thus far this season. If he's sitting there and you've just got someone to drop or you've got an empty spot on your roster, then I'd be okay with that. But I wouldn't be too attached to him if you do have him on your roster. Mr. GOAT 1996. Tonight's game was a dog crap performance by the Warriors at home against the Raptors. It was indeed, and that's why I sort of flagged that. I wouldn't read into it too much. MJ asks, is it safe to add post? Yeah, like I said, I think you can. Don't look at that 18 minutes tonight and think that that's all he's going to get. I think he will play more than that. I don't know how much more or how many minutes he will play. But, yeah, I think you could go and add him and give him 2 to 3 games to see how it all sort of – hopefully their next couple of games are a lot closer than they were tonight. Lone Des, despite Nurkic's performance tonight, I still think I'm trying to sell him. Do you sell him? So do I think that selling Nurkic and Cater for a Kongwu would be a fair offer? Yeah, I think so. I'd be trying to get off Nurkic. I think that certainly makes sense. Just with all the risk, I know he's been really good, and I mean, if he stays on the court, he'll continue to be good. But we've already seen that Utah aren't going to play him every game. Does he get traded? Is this? I know that the whole sort of theory of showcasing is some people believe it, some people don't. But is that what's happening here? Are they just allowing him to do everything with a view to building up some trade value? Maybe. But I'm just bringing up his recent games here. So, yeah, look, I mean, his recent performances have been phenomenal. He's the number 8 ranked player over the last month but he's only played 9 games. There's your trade-off. Only 9 games in a month. And I guess he's played in the last 2. He missed the 3 before that. Played 1, missed 2, played 2, missed 2, played 3, missed 1. So basically you're getting half the games each week. So 2 of every 4. So, yeah, look, I think moving off him is okay, and targeting someone like a Kongwu, who's been really good this season. And, I mean, we have no idea when or if or when Porzingis is coming back. So, yes, I think I'd be okay doing that. Is it time to give up on Ware? Eason, PJ Washington, Isaiah Hartenstein available, 10-team 9-cat. Yeah, I think so. Yep. He was out tonight. He hasn't been playing. Eason was back, only played limited minutes, but first game back. PJ Washington, when he gets back, he'll play a big role. So I think in a 10-team league, you're okay to move on from him, and you can I mean, if those 3 players are available, then the waiver wire is obviously decent. Okay, and this is your team. Keontae George, Manuel Quickley, Shaden Sharp, Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, OG, Josh Hart, Brandon Miller, Wemby, Duran, Ware, Jalen Smith. Yeah, if you've got Jokic, Wemby, Duran, Jalen Smith is playing well, then yeah, I don't see any reason to really be holding Ware. Points league. Should I trade Giannis for Trey Murphy, Amen, and Sabonis? I'm inclined to say yes, but it's not easy to let go of your best player. Correct, it is not easy to let go of someone like Giannis, especially in a points league. Look, I think it's a fair trade. Honestly, I wouldn't do it, though, in a points league. Sabonis, we just talked about him. I have no confidence in what his immediate future looks like. Amen's been good. Trey Murphy's been good. But one player of Giannis's caliber he's a league winner. And yeah, if you're getting rid of Giannis, you have to remember that you're getting 3 back in a trade. So you would have to drop 2 players as well. So yeah, I think I'd just hold. I think I'd just hold there. Please shout out to my wife, Jen Mercado. Is that how you say it? Let me know if I got that right. Masado. I think Mercado looks better to me. Is PJ Washington must roster? Yeah, I think so. We know who he is, but he's really good counting stats, and Dallas, I mean, they have center options, but I think he is. I think he's a pretty clear top 100, top 90 player rest of season. Traded for OG and Keyshawn George. Is that a win? Figured Keyshawn is ramping up to be pretty good. Yeah. Traded OG for Keyshawn George. Okay, so you got rid of OG Anunoby and got Keyshawn George. Yeah, look, I think Anunoby is the better player. But I'm okay with that. Yeah, if you're looking for upside, and he is ramping to be pretty good, I think it's an okay trade. I don't know if I would have done it, but I don't think it's bad. I don't think you're going to sort of look at what OG is doing and regret it. Yeah, so I think it's okay. Thoughts on Bub Carrington? Worth holding in a 12-team 9-cat? With no Trey, I guess so. I'd prefer Trey Johnson. I'd prefer Champagny. But Carrington's been okay. I think he's all right to hold for now. I think he's probably more of a stream level player. But yeah, I think you can hold on to him short term anyway and see what happens. Should I trade Tyler Hero? If you can, I wouldn't move him for anything lower than a top 50, though. I think he has been very frustrating. This rib injury is, I don't know. We don't really know much about it. It could be a week. It could be a month. Sounds like it's sort of a pain-related thing. So, yeah, look, if you can trade him, absolutely I would. But I wouldn't just trade him for a top 100 player. That's selling too low on a guy that could be top 40 when he gets back. So top 50, top 60, maybe. Is Justin Champagny still a trade deadline stash? I think so. Yeah, I'm still holding him in every league I had him in 2 weeks ago. I still have him. So yes, I still think that he'll be worthwhile, especially once Middleton goes. Do I think it's possible the Bulls start Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Mattis Buzelis, Jalen Smith, and Vooch, or is Okoro locked in? Very good question. It may come down to the opponent. Kobe, Giddey, yes, they will start. Buzelis, I'm pretty sure he's locked in. It's obviously Smith is the question here. And that, yeah, it could be determined by the opponent. If they're against a bigger team, they might go with Jalen Smith. I do think Jalen Smith has helped Vucevic of late. I think Vuce is playing quite well, and I think having a second big there to take some of that pressure off him defensively has helped. Not that Vuce is a good defender, but it does take some pressure off him. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I definitely think it's possible they go in that direction. I'm just not sure they do it every game. And then, of course, if Vooch is traded, then Smith will just start at center, I think, unless they get a center back. Should we be trying to sell Steph in case? Yes, I think so. But only for how good has he been? Let me have a look. I don't have Steph in any league. But I feel like he's probably been a first rounder this year. He just chugs along, doesn't he? So he's the 11th ranked player this season. Nothing will change in terms of his per game numbers. In fact, they may even go up a little bit without Jimmy. So if you're trading him, I would only trade him for a first rounder. Yeah, I wouldn't go any lower. Maybe top 15 if you're worried about that rest, because obviously moving him, whoever you're moving him to is going to be a little bit skeptical of why you're moving him. So they may not give up a first rounder. Let me just have a look at who you could potentially. I mean, it depends what stats you're after as well. So you could move him for, like, if you wanted to move him, I guess, for a comparable player, so someone similar skill set, you could look at a Donovan Mitchell. I would do that. If you could move Steph Curry for Donovan Mitchell, I would do that. For James Harden, I would probably do that. Jamal Murray would be an interesting one. So he's been very good this season. Jokic will come back and hurt him a little bit. So his points are probably not quite as good as Steph, but the assist numbers are better. So I'd consider Jamal as well, actually. Is Smith a rest of season roster? At this point, yes. We'll reevaluate after the trade deadline, but I think we're only 2 weeks, 2 and a little bit from the trade deadline. So if you've got Smith, I would hold him for the next 2 weeks and just see what happens. I mean, if Giddey comes back and Smith moves back to a 20-minute role, it'll be tough. But I actually don't think that'll happen. I think he'll stay in a pretty big role. I can trade Shaden Sharp for Keyshawn George. I know Basketball Monster has Sharp ranked 150. Yeah, Sharp's player ranks aren't everything, obviously. If they're sort of negative in any one or two categories, significant negative, it really drags down their value. So, yeah, look, I think trading Shaden Sharp for Keyshawn George. So is that to get Keyshawn George? Or let me just have a look. Yeah, you didn't. Oh, yes, you have. Oh, no, you have. Oh, you have Sharp. Yep, that's right. So you can trade Sharp for Keyshawn George. Yes, I would do that. If you could do that, I would. Yep, if you're getting Keyshawn George. In my situation, 7th in my league, 6 teams advanced, 5 spots are basically taken. Okay, so you're fighting for that 6th spot. More convenient. Is it more convenient for me to trade away Giannis for the deal I mentioned or not? No, again, I probably wouldn't. It also, if you're bringing in 3 players, like I said, that means you need to drop 2 players. It may limit your ability to stream as well. Just remember that, because you're making your roster deeper. So Yeah, I think I'd hold the one player here. Okay, yes. So you'd like to move Steph. Were you the Steph question? Yes. So similar skill set. So Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Jamal Murray. Possibly that's about as low as I'd go, I think. Which side do I prefer? Duran and Shaden Sharp or Jaren Jackson Jr. and Keyshawn George? Ooh. I prefer Duran over Jaren Jackson, and I think I prefer Keyshawn over Shaden Sharp. So it's a tough one. I think if you've got JJ, maybe comes down a little bit to stats. So if you need defensive stuff, I'd go with the JJJ Keyshawn side of things. But if you're looking for points, threes, rebounds, go the other side. But I think Jaren Jackson and Keyshawn George will give you a little bit more across the board. Okay. Giannis guy, thank you for reminding me. I know I have to drop 2 players yet, but I recently did 2 trades where I gave 1 more player than I got back. So you have 5 players on your roster that are streamer level. Do I need depth? Okay, so you've still got quite a few. So you've got 5 streaming spots. So bringing in 3 for 1 is not necessarily going to hurt you as much. If it was, as I said earlier, my drawback is the Sabonis thing. I'm just not convinced that he is the Sabonis that we're used to seeing. But I mean, it sounds like you like. I don't think this is an unfair trade by any means. I think it's certainly fair. It more comes down to context and things like that. So if this is a trade that you want to make, I don't think you'll necessarily make it and regret it. Trey Murphy has been really good and will continue to be really good. But remember, he plays for the Pelicans, so there is that. But you are getting 3 sort of top 30 players back. Well, Sabonis if he gets back to anything near what he can do. But Giannis is like a top 3 player in points leagues. That's my sort of caution there, is that he is so good in points leagues. But if it's a trade you want to make, as I said, I don't think it's unfair. Would I trade quickly for Kevin Porter Jr. as a buy low? Quickly, yeah. I mean, if you want to move quickly, today's the day to do it, isn't it? Coming off his best game of the season. I think it's pretty close. I think it's a close trade. If you want Kevin Porter Jr. on your roster, I think this is okay. My caution would be that he moved to the bench yesterday. So Milwaukee is still trying to figure things out in terms of the rotation. And we just don't know. I mean, he could come off the bench and play 20 minutes a night here for 2 weeks. I don't think that'll happen. But Doc Rivers is not the sharpest tool in the shed. So we don't know what is going on in his mind at the moment. Quickly, we know his role is very secure. The production's been fine this season. I do think Kevin Porter Jr. probably has more upside. In saying that, Quickly had 40 points tonight. So I think it's an okay trade. If you want to get Kevin Porter Jr., I think it's fine. Personally, I would probably hold Quickly just because I think projecting his value is a little easier than Kevin Porter Jr. at the moment. Is Mathurin worth a pickup in 12-team leagues? Sure. I'm not sold on Mathurin. I never have been. He obviously has a lot more value in points leagues. He'll be eased back in. He probably won't play back-to-backs. He plays for the Pacers. He's okay, but I wouldn't be prioritizing him, I don't think. Do I prefer AJ Mitchell or Aaron Wiggins? I prefer AJ Mitchell. I know Wiggins was really good yesterday. generally speaking, I think I prefer AJ Mitchell, but in saying that, I think they both should be rostered. Should I trade JJJ? A lot of fuss about him being a sell high. Yeah, look, I mean, if ever you can sell a player high, I think it's a good opportunity too. Just having a look at what his rank in production's been. So last week, last 2 weeks, last month. So he's sort of been a top 40 player. A lot of that has come without Ja Morant. Zach Edey hasn't been there. So I guess if we're looking at this from the perspective of do the Grizzlies get healthy, then yes, you probably can sell him high, but I would only sell him for a top 40 player. I wouldn't go off and move him for a top 70 player because I think he'll be better than that. Sharp and OG Anunoby for Kevin Durant. Yeah. I think I'd be okay with that. That's a tough one, actually. But yeah, I think I would. Kevin Durant's the best player. You're giving up like a top 40 player and a top 100-ish player for a top 20 player. So, yes. Very non-committal of me. In a 9-cat league, who has the most fantasy playoff upside? Dioman, Melton, Filipowski, Justin Champagnie, Collier in first place, willing to take short-term losses. I mean, Filipowski's sort of the odd one out here because he's a center. So that probably, I mean, if you're after big man stats, go Filipowski. If you're after, I would only go with Collier if you need assists. That's all he is to me, is an assists guy. Dioman, yes, I think has value, but he's already being rested and limited. Melton's minutes are probably capped. I think Champagnie is probably the safest. It's weird. I mean, if I looked at this, yeah, I didn't think I'd say that. But Champagnie, to me, has the clearest path to 28 to 30 minutes playing every night. I think Dioman has a path to 30 minutes, but do they play him every game? I'm not guaranteed. Collier doesn't do enough for me across the board. Filipowski is very up and down. If we knew that Nurkic was going to be traded and Filipowski was going to just start and play every game, but it's Utah, so I'm not sure. So I would probably go Champagnie as the safest of those guys. But if you are willing to take some losses, which you've said you are, I think I'd go with, wouldn't be Collier. I'd probably go Filipowski. We are starting to see him turn things around. Based on the production of Pelle Larsson today, is he the right man for the replacement of Hero in a 14-team league? I wouldn't drop Hero, if that's what you're saying. I wouldn't drop Hero to pick up Pelle Larsson, but I do think that Pelle Larsson should be rostered. Let me have a look at, is this? Oh, yeah, there we go. I have Larsson in a couple of leagues, actually. He intrigues me. Sorry, I'm just opening up his player page here. Yeah, look, he's been a little bit up and down, but the minutes are there. Yeah, so yes, look, I guess in answer to this question, in a 14-team league, yes, I think Pelle Larsson should be rostered. Would I drop Tyler Hero to pick him up? No, I wouldn't. I traded MPJ for OG. Did I shoot too low? No, good trade, I think. Yep, I think that's fine. And is there any chance the production of Case and Wallace will turn around? I sure hope so. The first game without Jalen Williams wasn't promising, was it? I think Wallace he was dreadful. Yeah, look, I think he can't be any worse. So I'll say yes, that I think there is a chance that the production turns around. To the point where he has to be rostered, I'm not sure, but you could definitely stream him in, pick him up for a couple of games. What does their schedule look like? Let me just have a look. Oh no, I don't want those games. I want the 21st. The Thunder play on, so they play tomorrow, they play Friday, they play Sunday, they play Tuesday. So there's no back-to-backs coming up. They have 3 games left this week. So yeah, you could certainly pick Cason Wallace up if he's available and see what happens. But yeah, I'm not convinced. He hasn't done what I thought he'd do. I thought the steals have been fine, but the offensive game just hasn't sort of progressed at all. In fact, he's probably got worse. In a points league, which Hornets center do I prefer? At the moment, Musa. Rest of season, I'll go Kalkbrenner, I think. Probably depends. It depends on the Hornets. They've looked pretty good lately. So I think if the Hornets are somehow competing, it might be Musa. But if they ultimately end up sort of going down that same path that they have for the last few years, then it's probably going to be Kalkbrenner. Are we trading Bam on a high after tonight's performance? Yeah, sure. If you can. He's been very up and down this season. I think he's probably a top 50 player. So if you can move him for a top 50 player, go ahead. Watching with your missus, she wants to know what's my favourite board game on the shelf. Oh, all right. It's probably so there's a game up there that I've actually never played. Lord of the Rings Trivial Pursuit is up there. Is it Trivial Pursuit? Yeah, Lord of the Rings Trivial Pursuit. And no one will play it with me in my family. So I've had it for years. I've probably had it for 20 years. I don't know when Lord of the Rings came out. But I'm the only one that's seen Lord of the Rings, so no one will play it with me. My son and I are watching the movies at the moment. So we just finished the first one today. So I'm hoping he might play against me at some point. But that would be my favourite if someone would play. But if I had to pick a game that I've played, I do have Seinfeld Cluedo as well, and that is fun because I love Seinfeld. Do I see Jay Huff, Keegan Murray, and Eason being 12-team must rosters rest of season? Eason, yes. I think if Eason stays healthy, he is. Keegan Murray, I'd go 50-50 because the Kings are a dumpster fire. Keegan Murray's not that good. He's good, but he's not great. He's not a league winner. So I'll go 60-40 on Keegan. I'll go 100%. If Eason is healthy, yes. And Jay Huff, yeah. If you need blocks, sure. If you don't need blocks, no. Who will benefit the most in the Jimmy Butler injury? Talked about this one a little bit earlier. I still think it's Podziemski and DeAnthony Melton should be the two priorities, followed by Moody and Kuminga. Take a flyer on Kuminga. But if you missed the start of the show, I don't think tonight's game or the game earlier tonight against against the Raptors is a good reflection. So if you've picked someone up, don't make any moves. Just wait and see what the next game looks like. Benedict Mathurin a pickup in a 12-team 9-cap. Would I prefer Benedict Mathurin or Neesmith? Is neither an option? I'd probably go Neesmith. I'm not particularly attached to either of them, though, to be honest. Should I trade my 2 players for SGA? Reed and Powell for SGA. Reed. Like Naz Reed? And Norm Powell? Is there another Reed that I'm missing out on? I feel like, because if this is Naz Reed, then absolutely yes, you trade Naz Reed and Norm Powell. Yeah, just let me know. If this is Naz Reed and Norm Powell, then yes, I would be running to hit except if someone has offered that to you. Oh, yes, it is. Naz Reid and yes, absolutely make that trade now. Yes, Seinfeld. Yes. It's so here in Australia, I don't know where people are from who are watching this, obviously, but we have a 24-hour Seinfeld channel here, so it just plays Seinfeld all day, every day. And I tell you, it is on my TV a lot. When do I think Reeves will come back? Very soon. He is traveling with the team, and they have said he will be back on their current road trip. Where was the Lakers here? So they play against the Clippers Thursday, then Dallas on Saturday, Chicago on Monday, Cleveland on Wednesday. So I think he'll be back in the next week. So, yeah, if you've held on to him, fingers crossed he is back pretty soon. A lot of questions. I didn't think we'd get this many. Do I think getting LeBron for DeRozan and Derek Queen is a steal or fair? LeBron is obviously great, but Reeves is coming back and he's 41. Yeah, if it was 2016, I'd say yes, but it's not. I think LeBron is still the best player there. So, yes, you're probably getting the best player. DeRozan also plays for the Sacramento Kings, so that drops him down a little bit. Derek Queen is really weird. Like, he'll be a top 50 player one week and then outside the top 200 the next week. He's very up and down. Yeah, look, I think it's fair. If you want to get LeBron, no, I probably wouldn't do it. I'm skeptical that LeBron stays healthy, and obviously with Reeves coming back, he won't be as good. Which side would I rather in this? Jalen Johnson or Devin Booker and Ryan Rollins? I'll go Jalen Johnson, I think. Much as I love Rollins, yeah, I think I'll go Jalen Johnson. Correct, MJ. SGA for Reed and Powell is outrageous. Hopefully you've gone Uncle Bacon. You've gone and accepted that trade. Is Monk worth a pickup? Yeah, sure, for now. I'm not saying he will be in 2 games' time, but yeah, I think for now, if he's there, go and grab him. Need to drop one when PJ comes back. Who would I drop? Monk, Yegor, Jalen Smith, Diabate, Eason, Buzelis, or Pods? I wouldn't drop Eason. I wouldn't drop Buzelis. I wouldn't drop Jalen Smith. Don't think I'd drop. It's probably Monk. Probably not Pods at the moment. So I'll go Monk or Yegor Dioman, I think, would be the 2 that I'd consider dropping there. Has Bums and Chums list been well received in the fantasy community? I think so. A lot of people look at it, and I get messages about it, and we're doing the show about it now. So, yeah, I think so. I think someone commented on it tonight and said they enjoy reading it every night. So I hope people do. It doesn't take me, obviously, too long to put out there, but yeah, no, I think so. Thoughts on Cisse rest of season? I don't know. But right now, I think you grab him. The question is going to be, well, Anthony Davis is still a while off. Daniel Gafford, I have no faith that he's going to be healthy for any length of time. Dwight Powell is sort of the spoiler here because he is playing, he is starting. He's not doing a lot, but they don't want to start Cisse at the moment, and that's fair enough. He's a rookie center, and they are, for whatever reason, trying to win. So the question will be, once Gafford is healthy, what happens to Cisse? And he is on a 2-way deal, I believe, so he has limited games available. So, like an example here, in one of my leagues, I'm trying to somehow win blocks. I never win blocks. And Musa Cisse and Dylan Cardwell were on my waivers. I went with Cardwell over Cisse only because the Mavericks have a back-to-back this weekend, and I'm not convinced Cisse will play in both of those games. So that's sort of in the back of my mind with Cisse. In saying that, I have picked him up in 2 or maybe even more, maybe 3 or 4 leagues. So, yeah, the question is, once Gafford is back, does Cisse fall out of the rotation, or does Dwight Powell fall out of the rotation? And where does PJ Washington fit? So there's still a lot of moving pieces, even without Anthony Davis. But I think right now he's okay to just grab him and see what happens. Do I think Reeves will be a top 15 player? No, I don't think so. Not top 15. You have to remember he was doing that without LeBron. Top 30, yes. Second rounder, maybe. I would say probably top 30. 9 Cat, head-to-head. Should I trade out Jalen Johnson and Bam in exchange for Booker, Avdia, and Rollins? I think it. Well, if we put the players in order, I think Jalen Johnson's number 1, probably Avdia second, Booker third, Bam, and then Rollins. Or maybe Rollins is better. Yeah, I might do that. I know I said I'd take Jalen Johnson over Booker and Rollins, but if you're getting Avdia in there as well and giving up Bam, then that probably makes it a lot closer for me because Avdia has been phenomenal. So, yeah, I think I'd consider that one. Is it trying to drop Cam Spencer? I think so. With Ja Morant sort of coming out and saying he doesn't want to be traded. It doesn't mean he won't be traded, but I think we can move on. I mean, if you're at the top of your standings and you can just hold him until the trade deadline, I would probably suggest doing that just in case Ja Morant is traded, but doesn't look like he will be. So I think we're okay to move on. Everyone loves Tari Eason, but he's always hurt, correct? Despite Reed Shepherd balling tonight, do I think Adams out helps him? Yes, I do. I think Adams being out helps both of those guys. And if Ime Udoka actually knew what he was doing and stopped playing Josh Okogie and Aaron Holiday and these guys that do absolutely nothing, then it would help them even more. But I think it does. And Adams, it sounds like he's going to be out for a while here. I think we're probably looking at 6 weeks minimum. They've said it's likely a grade 3 sprain, that's a bad one. So Clint Capella gets a bit of a bump, but they will just go with some smaller lineups. Jabari Smith at center a bit more, so it probably helps him in a weird way. But yeah, look, it takes a guy that was playing 20, 22 minutes out of the rotation. So in theory, it should give more minutes to those guys. And on that note, Tari Eason or PJ Washington? Ooh. I will go with... I'll go with Tari, I think. I think Eason just has a little bit more upside. He could be top 50. PJ, I don't think can be top 50. I think he's more like a top 80. So I'll go with Eason there. All right, what have we got? Man, a lot of questions coming in. Is Santi a must hold or should we stream his spot? I'm okay streaming Santi Aldama. Yes, I did see that, MJ, that Doug Christie came out and basically said that Levine doesn't play defense, which we know he doesn't. And do I think he'll be traded? I think he should be traded. I think DeRozan should be traded. I think Monk should be traded. I think Sabonis should be traded. I think they should tear this down and just start with Keegan Murray. They've got some nice young centers. Let's see what they can do. Devin Carter is there. I'm curious to see what he can do in a bigger role. Maybe they keep Monk. Schroeder should go. Look, maybe they keep one of those veterans, so maybe they do keep DeRozan around. But yeah, Levine, I think he's just a waste of space there. Bums and Chums is great. Nice quick read. Yeah, it's quick. That's the point of it. I know people like things to be very quick and easy. Going to have to choose between J-Dub, Trey Murphy, Reeves, or JJJ in a keeper league. Ooh, so sort of a dynasty question. How would I rank those guys in dynasty? Yeah, Noah would be the one to answer this. I would probably say that might be the order. Obviously, if blocks are high on your agenda, then JJJ gets a bump. But yeah, I think that would be my order actually in Dynasty. Would I trade a Kongwu and Edgecombe for Franz and Kamara? I don't think I would. Edgecombe's been great. I think Franz is probably the best player but Okongwu and Edgecombe are two like top 50 guys, and Kamara's outside the top 150 this season. So to me, Kamara is not even really part of this trade. I think he's stream level, maybe slightly better than stream level. So this is more like Okongwu and Edgecombe for Franz. And I think if I was giving up Okongwu and Edgecombe, I'd be looking for someone a little bit better than Franz Wagner. So no, I'd probably hold those two. Do I think punting 4 categories in 9-cat is viable? Yes, I do, and I do it in every league. Doesn't always work, but it's viable. Hang on, it's not in this one. I can tell you exactly how viable. If I quickly have a look at my Yahoo leagues and the leagues that I'm punting 4 categories in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, sort of 6 leagues that I'm punting 4 categories. And I'm coming in those leagues. One of them is I've had a rough season, so I'm near the bottom. So it didn't work in one league, but in 1, 2, 3, 4 of the other 5 leagues, I'm in the top 3, and then I'm 7th in the other one. So it is a tough strategy to pull off, and it comes with some risk. And I'm always tweaking what categories I'm going to punt. So next season, I've already got some ideas in my head of different punts that I'm going to implement. You just have to keep in mind that you probably won't finish first if you're punting 4 categories. It's really hard, but that doesn't matter. I don't care if I've finished 7th, 8th in leagues before, punting 4 categories and won. So yeah, it's definitely viable. Definitely. Are we holding Dioman and Melton? Yes, I think we are. Would I keep Maxime or pick up Caldwell? I've got both of them in a few leagues. Not on maybe I do have both of them on one team. I would probably lean Caldwell slightly at the moment. Can I predict Ty Jerome's stats? Yeah, I think he's back, isn't he, soon? Yeah, coming back soon. Top 50. I think top 50 is best case. Maybe top 120 is best case. I don't think he's someone that you have to roster, but you can roster him. But yeah, I'm not sold that he'll be this guy. Ty Jerome or Scoot? Well, probably Ty Jerome because we have no idea when Scoot's coming back. Would I trade Peyton Watson to get Miles Bridges or to get Bain? Ooh, that's an interesting one. I do think selling high on Watson is a great idea. So that's certainly what you're doing here, I guess. Yeah, look, I think I would. Bain, I definitely would. If you could trade Watson and get Desmond Bain, I would do that. In terms of Miles Bridges, sure. I think it's okay, but honestly, holding on to Watson is probably okay as well. How many streaming spots is ideal to have? I'll say 2. And as you get into the playoffs, maybe 3. But again, it does depend on your league settings, because if you only have a limited number of streaming moves per week, then you don't need as many streaming spots. If it's unlimited, then yeah, have 2, 3 in a 12-team league, I think. Giannis guy again. What about getting Mobley, Amen, and Sabonis in return? Mobley a safer bet than Murphy. He probably is, yes. Probably doesn't have as high upside, but probably is more likely to play out the season. So, yeah, I think Murphy is probably slightly better. Mobley is slightly better. The only category I'm punting is turnovers. Should I punt 2 and strengthen other areas? Jokic team, so try to be well-rounded. Yeah. I think heading into, as you get closer to the fantasy playoffs, is a great time to start consolidating, having a look at trades. So easiest way to do that, look at your standings, have a look at category by category, which ones are you strong in, which ones are you weak in, trade away the players you don't need. I'm already doing that in a lot of leagues, starting to explore trades. And it is a good strategy in terms of, because obviously making any trade, the other person involved wants to feel like they're winning as well, or at least breaking even with you. So it's an opportunity. Say you've got, I don't know, hang on. Say you've got on your team someone like Chet Holmgren, for example. Yeah, let's go Chet. So say you've got Chet Holmgren on your team, and he's a top 30 player, so a third rounder. But if you're punting blocks, he is not a third rounder. I will tell you what he is if you punt blocks. Oh, of course. Hang on. Where was he? Where is Chet? Okay, so Chet this season is the 23rd ranked player in standard 9 category leagues. And if you have him on your roster, he's a second rounder. But if you're punting blocks, he becomes a top 60 player. So to you, in your build, if you decide, okay, I actually don't need blocks here, I'm punting them, he loses value. So if you trade him away, you can absorb a bit of a hit. So it might be that you trade him for who have we got here? I don't know, Jalen Brunson, for example, who is lower ranked. Let me see where Brunson is this season. So Brunson, so they're pretty similar. It's probably, maybe it's not a great. So Brunson has been a top 40 player. Chet's been a top 25 player. So on the surface, the other player the other manager that you're trading with is going to look at this and go, oh, I'm getting a top 25 player and I'm only giving up a top 40 player. And so it's a lot easier to sell that trade to someone. But in your knowing with your build and the direction that you're headed, you're actually giving up a top 60 player and getting a top 20 player back. So just keep that in mind. It does make trading easier if you're going to consolidate. Following up on the KPJ and quickly question, do I have a rest of season projection rank for both of them? I mentioned KPJ has more upside. Yes, look, I think they're both, based on what we've seen, I think they're both probably top 80 players. I don't even know where they are. Let's have a look where they are this season. So Quickly is top 75. And Kevin Porter, Kevin Porter's been phenomenal, hasn't he? Top 30. And that's why I think he has more upside. Like Kevin Porter does more stuff across the board. He's better defensively. There's less mouths to feed in Milwaukee. It's Giannis and then sort of a whole heap of other guys. Whereas in Toronto, when they're healthy, there's RJ Barrett, there's Scotty Barnes, there's Brandon Ingram, there's Emmanuel Quickly. So some nights Quickly, like tonight, it can be the first option, but we've seen nights where he's the fourth. Kevin Porter Jr. is always going to be the second or third option. So that's why he has more upside. But I don't know what Doc Rivers is doing with this rotation. So that's why I think Quickly is safer, but Kevin Porter has more upside. 9-cat, 12-team league, Jabari Smith or Zach LaVine. Also, can Shaden Sharp and Jabari maintain good value? I think Shaden Sharp's value will be fine. Jabari Smith will be fine as well. I wouldn't be trading for LaVine. So, look, maybe he's a better per-game option than Jabari Smith. But I'm not really touching anyone in Sacramento, especially someone like LaVine who is hopefully going to be traded if you're a Sacramento fan. Sleeper lock-in mode. I have no idea what that is. Is that a sleeper league? I've never played on sleeper before. So sorry, I don't actually know what that means. Now, there were a couple of questions up here that I skipped over. Whereabouts in Australia am I? I am in Canberra, or near Canberra, which is, to people that aren't in Australia, a lot of people don't know where Canberra is. I'm about 3 hours from Sydney. So you probably know where Sydney is. Between Sydney and Melbourne, sort of. Okay. So yeah, I think that's it. Okay, we went for an hour. There you go. A lot more questions than I thought. So thanks everyone for the questions. It certainly gave me more to talk about than just the Warriors and what happened tonight. Have I seen Primate yet? I have not. It comes out tomorrow here in Australia. I saw Bone Temple on Monday. Thought it was very, very good. Yeah, I mean, I could do a whole podcast about horror movies, couldn't I? I'm not going to, but I could. So no, I haven't seen Primate yet. Probably going to head off to see it when I get back. Going on holiday soon. So would I trade Rollins for Pritchard in a points league? I think that's okay if you want to do that. Yep. Okay, so Sleeper is kind of like a points league where you lock in a player's performance if you think that's going to be their best game. Okay, so it's sort of similar to the Yahoo high score leagues, I guess. Yeah, okay, so what was the question? Would I trade Jaren Jackson, Nurkic, and Keyshawn George for Brunson and Zubats? I'll say Nurkic. Oh, that's a tough one. I think I probably would. I think getting off Nurkic, I'm okay with that. Points league, Brunson has more value in a points league. Yeah, so I think I'd be okay with that. Primate was good to know, and a little ode to Gremlins in the beginning. Thinking of moving to Sydney, have I been? I have been. I go to Sydney all the time because the football team that I support is in Sydney. So I have a season ticket or member or whatever you call it. So I'm up in Sydney a lot watching them. I would not live in Sydney. I don't like going to Sydney, but a lot of people do. That's just me. I've lived here where I am for my whole life, and it's a lot quieter, less traffic, less people. Sydney is just very busy. I like visiting, but I certainly like leaving as well. What are the 4 cats that I punt and why? I'm assuming you go all big and punt points, threes, assists, and free throws. You are correct. That is one of the punts that I do. So I target big man stats and steals. And then the other punt that I do is where I punt big man stats. So I go points, threes, assists, steals, and free throw percentage. So they're the two easiest ones because those stats tend to correlate. Next season, I'm going to trial punting percentages and points. So targeting rebounds, blocks, assists, steals, and threes. Because I hate percentages this season. They've been very frustrating. So I'm going to try that. I mean, I'll try anything, but that's what I'm going to try next season. All right, now I'm going to get out of here. It is, well, it's not my bedtime, but it's time to go and do other things. Appreciate everyone tuning in and asking questions. And I'll be back. So I will have a Friday recap show. Do I do a show on Friday? I feel like I do. Maybe I don't. Saturday. No, I don't think so. So my next show will be the Friday recap. That will be it, though. Then I'm away, so there won't be any shows next week. And then I'll be back to do the Friday recap the next week after that. So it'll be a Friday recap, nothing Friday recap. But still stuff on Twitter. I should be able to still do stuff and answer questions. If you've got any questions, just shoot them through. Just tag me or DM or whatever, do that. Okay, let's go. Get out of here. Thank you, everyone. Reminder to go and subscribe and like. The Trade Deadline show is up on YouTube, so if you can give that one a thumbs up, that would be really appreciated. I do ask this from time to time, but go and download the audio versions of these shows as well. You don't actually have to listen to them. Just go and download them on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, because that's where the Believe stuff helps us. The Believe is linked to the audio versions, not the YouTube versions. So if you are watching on YouTube, just set it to auto download and then go and delete it a week later. That's fine. Appreciate everyone. I'm Adam King. This has been Stuff It Fantasy Basketball Podcast. We are done.
Where the monsters like to come alive, come alive.